can really sense spring is coming. Soon spring is here. Oh, there's a cow calling from the meadow. These nature sounds, oh, they're the best. Yeah. Oh God, I love cows. I love them so much. Such a beautiful day today. Quiet and sunny. It's the best. So I thought I'd share with you today, before summer comes, I'd talk about the gnome. And just tell you the story about what I experienced when I met the gnome. See, as I said, this building here, you've seen so many times, was built when our kids were little, when I was expecting our fourth baby. And yeah, when the kids were little, I've told this on the YouTube videos. I've told about this, that at Christmas time, it's an old tradition in Denmark, and it was actually a very real thing in farm life in old times. They really sensed the gnomes, and we call them nisser. And especially around Christmas time, the whole story about the nisse continued. And so they're very much linked, Christmas and the nisse, the little gnomes. And in Denmark, it's like a Santa's helper. And so from old times, this is what I've heard while I grew up, that and I think it's very true that they sensed on the little farms. See, most people, they lived on little places like this and had a few cows and some pigs and some goats or whatever, and they would be tending their animals, and they would sense this gnome, or maybe a gnome family in the stable, and some believed he was evil, but yeah, there's many different stories, but they knew that they had to actually be kind to him, because otherwise he would tease them or maybe actually be nasty. And there's a certain amount of truth to that, because apparently people who can really connect with these, they say they have very big personalities and they can get very, very cross. So anyway, just my story is that I didn't really know if I believed them, but I thought it was so wonderful when our kids were little that we would go, as they did in old times, they would put porridge in the stable somewhere near the animals where they knew the gnome was, to be good to him. So they would leave some porridge and be nice to him, and then he would be nice to them. So anyway, in our life, we started doing that when our kids were little. And I said to them, I believe in him. I believe he's there. And somewhere in me, I do believe that there is much more than what we can see. Of course there is. Why should there only be what we can see? You can't see the blood cells. You can't see the cells of the body. They're still there. And people can see angels. Angels have been there. People have been writing about them, painting them. I mean, there's a world that we can't see. And actually, when we really start to move into this, we realize that the world that we can't see is, of course, much, much greater than what we can see. The naked eye, what our eye can see. So anyway, I would go up onto you can go on YouTube and see on the channel called Shining Our Bright Light on YouTube. I talk about this, and I show you the porridge that I used to go up with the kids. We'd put it upstairs, and I don't know if it was a cat who'd been there or something, but next morning there would be some of the porridge was gone sometimes. We would also leave some beer for him, because he loves porridge, and we put butter on and some cinnamon on. That's the same porridge that we have for Christmas time, and he loves beer. So anyway, we did that for many years, and as our children grew up, I stopped doing it, so I haven't done it for a few years. And I actually did it to make the YouTube videos. I did it to show what I had been doing. And actually not long after that, our Nisse, who lives here, he appeared to me. And it was, I didn't see him physically, but I sensed him. It's like I think you see the dead when you connect with the dead. Or he just was very clear in my inner vision. And so what happened, just to tell the story, is that I was doing the milking, and especially this day. Usually I'm quite meditative because I sing a lot. I sing to the Lord, praise the Lord, and I walk through here because I have to go through here a lot because I have to put the feed for the cow here. And the moment I walked through here, he said to me, really clearly, "Did you really not think I was here?" And I was so moved. I was crying all the time while he talked to me because it was so beautiful. And so I'll tell you what he told me, what I can remember. So I was doing the milking and I was just crying all along because it was so beautiful. And he was very clear with me. And he was quite surprised that I hadn't really believed him. So that was the first thing he said. He said, "Did you really not think I was here?" And then he started telling about himself, and he showed himself to me. And apparently, the way they show themselves is very much affected by your upbringing, so what you know about Nisa. But I could sort of really see. I could sort of, what do you call it? Go sort of with my eyes, my inner eyes, down over his body. But his face, of course, was this beautiful old face with big red cheeks. And he was wearing one of those red hats that we have traditionally on our Nisa. But it was not a bright red. It was Bordeaux. It was a sort of a wine color. And he was wearing a Icelandic sweater with this rough wool with patterns on it, black and brown and white, and these trousers. They were very woolen. It was all very woolen, and it was sort of rough, light brown trousers. And I can't remember his shoes really clearly, but I asked him if he was wearing a belt, and he lifted up his jumper, and there was this shiny buckle on his belt, and he was an incredibly proud being. He was very, very proud, and he was very proud of this place. I'll just go outside. I'll just show you him. I'll put this up here because sometimes I leave something for him. and it's just a little, that's what they look like in our tradition, and that was actually very much what he looked like, only he had much more red cheeks and this wine-coloured hat. So sometimes I leave something in the basket there for him, some fresh milk or something. And I'll be reading in the next video, I'll read something I've got from the internet. Yeah, the people who can see them, they explain more about them in depth, about gnomes, what they're all about. And so what he told me more was he's very proud of this stable, and he's very proud of this place. And I get all moved talking about it because it's so beautiful. But he just loves how I sing. And he as I was singing, he was dancing. He was dancing this real happy dance. He loves it when I sing, and he loves wool. He said he loves that sheep Clara, and he loves wool. He kept saying that he just loves wool, and he's 300 years old, and apparently that's how old they can get. So he's very old. And I asked him if he had a family, and he said he doesn't have a family anymore. So he has a friend who lives nearby who comes to visit him sometimes, but he doesn't have a family because he's too old. That's what he said anyway. And yeah, he loves how I'm so loving towards the animals, and that's what I read about, is that's really what they're all about. I get all moved because it's so powerful, because these beings, they're full of love. And it's just amazing how this affects me. But see, they're nature spirits, and they're filled with love, and they wish that they're here to help us live in harmony. They're here to help the world, the earth, and they're all about love and harmony. And they care very much for the animals, so they don't like if we're not kind to the animals and to the earth. So, of course, it's very painful for them that humans have been so aggressive and so destructive for so long and so unloving. We're so disconnected, and that's what I'm going to read in the next video. That they need places that are more untouched. They can't live. Gnomes can't live where there's big machines and big cement buildings, where there has to be a lot of natural life for them. So anyway, that was just going away from my story. What more can I tell you? Yeah, he was very, very happy to be here and very proud. And I'm not sure if he's been here all along, but he just loves that building. He loves being there, and he loves the fact that I'm keeping animals here. He really, really loves it. So he was very, very grateful and very proud, incredibly proud. So, and he finished off our talk when he was leaving me. I don't know how many minutes it lasts, but it was very, very clear, all of it. And he gave me 2 gifts. He stood in front of me like this, and in each hand, in one hand he had what's it called? On the spruce trees, you know, the seed, the cone. I think it's pine cone. In one he had a pine cone from a spruce tree, and the other one he had a citron. He had a citron rock, a stone, a crystal. And he gave them to me, and it was all in my inner sight, so it wasn't physical. But I felt it was a message to me to have the citron. It's a special type of crystal, have it near me. And that's what I found out afterwards, they work with the earth element, with the stones and the minerals. And everything that's sort of glossy, like his buckle on his belt, they love. They love everything shiny and stones, all stones, because they work in this earth stone element. Fascinating. So that was a very, I mean, I felt it so clearly, so I knew it was true. And his name is Bacchus, Bacchus. My name is Bacchus, he said. But the fact that he was holding this stone made it very clear to me that it was true, because I just couldn't have made that up. So beautiful.
Nee, ik wil. Doe ik wil. Nee.
So anyway, this was my gnome story, and I haven't sensed him so clearly again, but usually when I'm singing I can sense him is really, really joyful. So, and yeah, there's just more to discover, because once you get, you realize what to do, you can of course connect more with them.
Yeah?
So that was my gnome story. And so now you've been introduced to Bacchus.
Ja, doe ze frek.
Naughty little calf. So yeah, this was my gnome story, and I'll give you the other video. The next video is not, it's quite long, so just see how much you want to see. And I just read what I found from the internet, which I thought was very useful. So, okay, see you, my friend. God bless you.